We took the previous class about a man, his name is Oliver Cromwell, and we said he's the one who started the Commonwealth in England. And this man, he was a Puritan, so he was not a strict Catholic one. He was a Puritan, means that his goal is only to what, to purify the Church of England from any Catholicism and strict Roman Catholic practices there. So his laws were strict. Yes, he was a Puritan, but his laws were strict. The first thing, according to him, to stop and not giving any freedom for the Catholic people, he closed all the theaters and made the dancing forbidden. Many types of music were off limits, and all the pubs and the taverns were closed. And to him, this was the way to make the freedom of worship only for the Protestant, and no any other Catholic, or not no Catholic people are allowed to do what, to practice the religion or their religion publicly. So by doing this, he was putting the Catholic people in their houses, not allowing them to go to any place. So he was a Puritan, so he gave the Puritan and Protestant guys are the same. So this is why he allowed the Protestants to have the freedom of worship publicly and not for the Catholics. His problems was that the people, the supporters of King Charles II from England, they came and they began to attack England, and this was a problem for him because now he needs to fight the people who are supporters for King Charles II. King Charles II is the son of King Charles I. So he entered the battle with them, but it finished, and the result of it was that Cromwell died in 1658. After his death, what happened? The people said that yes, we are admitting that we are tired from the Puritan law, and Puritan law is killing us. So in 1660, the Parliament saw King Charles II, as the people are calling for his name. He is the one who must take the throne, and they called him back, voting for bringing him back to the English throne from Ireland. Charles II, he was Catholic, he was handsome, he was a great speaker, and he had political skills. His aftermath, after he took the throne, he brought back the monarchy government and parliament meeting, which means that he said, yes, I am the controller of everything, but I will keep meeting with you, parliament, and we will have discussions and we will have everything, but I am the monarchy government, I am the controller. He receded all Cromwell's laws, which means that all of the Cromwell's laws about dancing, drinking, theaters, publicly practicing the religion, he removed all of them and just deleted them. He now wanted to become a religious tolerance, which means that he's accepting all of the religions. So he allowed freedom of worship for everyone, Catholic, Puritan, whatever your religion is, you are free to practice your worship. So he wanted to unite the people together. He avoided to have any conflict with the parliament because the parliament was very powerful the government at that time, so he did not make any conflict with them because he wanted to do what later. He had an idea of becoming an absolute monarch later, to also be an absolute monarch above the parliament itself. He worked with the most powerful Catholic French king at that time, and his name was Louis XIV, and he was the most powerful, dominant Catholic French king ever. After him, King James I came. And who's King James I? He took the throne after his brother. So King James II took the throne from his brother, King Charles I. So both of them, they were the sons of King Charles I. King Charles II, he was gone. His brother after him, King James II, took the throne. King James II, he was a pro-Catholic, which means that he wanted to support the Catholic Church in any way, and he wanted to show off his Catholic faith. His daughter also, I need you to know this as a dream, So his daughter is Mary Stuart, the Queen of Scotland. So again, King Charles the First. I do not have a picture here, but King Charles the First. He's the father of King Charles the Second, and King James the Second. King James the Second. He is the father of Queen Mary Stuart. Okay, he made King James II. He made many mistakes during his reign and finally led to what to overthrow him. So yes, he was overthrew. Not just he died or a normal way. No, he was overthrew. The parliament refused him and put another one in his place. But peacefully he was overthrown. Who took the throne after them? We're going to talk about it. So, during his reign, he made many mistakes. He interfered with the parliament. How? By he made two mistakes dealing with them. He abolished laws without consulting them, and we said that the English Bill of Rights, they must go back to the parliament. No abolishing for any laws without going back to the parliament. And number two, that if any member disagreed with him, he replaced them with what? A Catholic counterpart, which means that he wanted to show off his Catholicism and support everyone that he is with the religion of Catholic or with the side of the Catholic people. So, two things that he was going against the parliament. The parliament were not Catholics, but if anyone in the parliament were disagreeing with him, immediately he would replace him with what? A Catholic one. So he put Catholic people in the parliament, and parliament at that time was a what? Puritan or Protestant, and he abolished and removed laws without going back to them. So this made them angry. Going to religion, he was ruling the land with having Puritans and Catholics in it, but he wanted to impose Catholicism. Even he was saying that I would rule under the religious toleration and so on, so that, but he wanted to impose Catholicism. How did we know that? Because it was shown that 7 Anglican bishops were imprisoned. So he put 7 Anglican bishops, 7 of the Puritan bishops, in prison. And also the religious clergy, Christians, churches that we're talking about them, that they are Catholics, they were given legal privileges, not like anyone else, not like the Anglican bishops. No, if you were Catholic, you will have a legal privileges, a legal thing that it's like higher than anyone else. Finally, he wanted to try and to change the institution in England, and to make all of them subjected to to his monarchical power. So he wanted to take back and reinstitution for the absolutism and Catholicism, and to be controlling everything, and the religion is Catholicism, and this did not work with the parliament. The parliament did not accept this, his reinstitution for absolutism, for Catholicism, so they were against him. In 1688, they were against him and peacefully overthrew him, putting who instead? His daughter and her wife. They called Mary Stuart his daughter, and her husband, William of Orange, to come from Ireland and to take the throne after her father. Again, guys, Mary Stuart, she's the daughter of King James II, and her husband was William of Orange. By the way, Mary and William, they are cousins. So King James II is the uncle of William. Now, the Parliament in 1688, they called Mary Stuart and they called William to come from Netherlands in 1689 and to take the throne from the father. Parliament, of course, forced them to do something, which is to sign something called the English Bill of Rights. What is this document? It's a document when the Parliament forced Queen Mary Stuart and King William of Orange to sign it in 1689, where they limited the power of the monarchy and give the basic civil liberties only to the wealthy class in England. This means, guys, that who's controlling the power of the monarchy, which means the king and the queen, the parliament, and who has the right to have this for the first time to have participating in the government. They were the wealthy people in England. Now, from this point, in history, all the English monarchies were just subjected to what? To parliament and to law. So the law was above the English monarchies and above the king and the queen. Of course, the English Bill of Rights did not take all the authority from them, but it limited them and made the parliament later with as a what? The higher power than the monarchy. So why we say that the parliament is higher than the monarchy itself? Because they gave themselves the right to limit the power of the king himself. Of course, at this time, it was written in law that if you, as a king or a queen, you do not have an heir, which means a son after you to take control of the land, other royals from other countries, they can assume to come and to take the throne according to who will be stronger and to take the throne. This was written in the law. So who came? King George I came, and he was a German prince. He was not an English one, he was a German one. And he was the German prince for the kingdom of what? Hanover. Okay. In 1714, he became the king of England. So yes, according to the law, he was able to come and claim that the throne is his. So in 1714, he became the king of England. Because of the situation in England and how they were like the political issues and the problems that many kings and queens came and overthrowing and religion problems, he did what? He said, King George said, I have a very good man that he can take control of government and to become the head of the government of England, or the first prime minister in England who can help me by taking decisions, political decisions, of course, in my reign. His name was Robert Walpole. So Robert Walpole, he was the first prime minister of England, or as we can say, he's the first head of the government of England from 1721 until 1742. He ruled, and he was the prime minister who helped King George I of England. Talking about this man, Robert Walpole, he is the first minister and he is the head of the government of England, as we said, from 1721 until 1742. His system was that he set up a cabinet of advisors to the king. So he said, yes, in order for us to make a good decisions, we must make a what? A group of advisors that the king can ask them for solutions and listen to them, and then he can make his decision. But yes, we made this cabinet, but all the ministers in it, they must agree with the king's policies while he is in the meeting, and his policy in public. You must agree with him. But if you were disagreeing with him, you can say this privately. You are not allowed to disagree the king in public. You can disagree with him when in private. Then he said that there is no absolute monarch kings. No, if the king wants to make some decision, he must go back to the advisors and to the ministers in order for them to help him. So no absolute monarch kings. And he said that parliament was made up of wealthy landowners, not a representative institution, but they carried a political unity, which means that yes, parliament is made up of wealthy people who had land, and they are wealthy class and noble class, but they were not a what representative institution. Yani they can be in the parliament and help in the parliament, but they're not only the only representative institution that shows the parliament. But he said, yes, you can work with us as parliament, you can work with the advisors, and this will create that we will have a political unity between the advisors of the king and the king himself and the parliament with them. He said also that only the people of England had freedom of speech, and only the people of England were allowed to take public debts throughout the European continent, and they did not achieve absolutism. So he said that only the English people, sorry, the people of England, they were only the people who were allowed, according to him, who were allowed to take public debts and who were allowed to have the freedom of speech. Not any other country, or yes, not any other country in the European continent is allowed to do this. But he's still saying that England did not achieve absolutism. Yani we're not making any we're not achieving any absolutism, but we are giving our people the freedom of speech and to take debt from the country itself, only if they were what, from England. Because of this system, peace happened, stability took place in England, and people start accepting each other. They start making this trading system from North America to India, and from India to Europe, and from Europe, and so on. So the trading system, it was going very high, and the people start making a good job out of their trading. Of course, this allowed them to become what? Allowed them to become the dominant and the most major world power. As we said, that Europe, not only Europe, England itself became the dominant and most major powerful country in the whole European continent because of Robert Walpole's system, and because of the trading system that they had, and because he put the people of England in a very high place, and the wealthy people were helping the parliament and making the political unity, and the advisors were helping the king. So all of this helped to make England a dominant and a major power, world power. Okay, that's it for today, and if you have any question, you are so welcome to ask me.